Hi guys, welcome to Restorative Yoga. If you've never practiced restorative or yin yoga before, this is a style of yoga where you use props, and it's not like traditional yoga where you're holding poses and building strength and flexibility. You're actually using your equipment to completely relax your body in various poses. And what that does is create really deep stretches in your muscles, but by lying in that position for potentially a few minutes, and the stretch starts to move up into your joints, which creates this greater sense of mobility, which feels really good. So let's talk equipment first. I'm trying to keep it as simple. My UHS students are trying to modify with what we have at home. So if you have yoga blocks, fantastic. You're only going to need one today. So if you don't have a yoga block, you're going to grab a stack of books. And this way you can control the height with the books. And I'm going to show you how to use that. I'll be using books today to modify. 2 really good thick blankets that you can roll up, or 2 really good towels, and 2 really firm pillows. Okay, so once again to review, either 2 yoga blocks or a stack of books, 2 blankets or 2 towels, and 2 really firm pillows. We are going to be practicing today. Hi, Rocky. We're going to be practicing against the wall at some point, so make sure you have a little bit of wall space as well. I'm going to be working right next to that picture, so you can see it doesn't have to be very big. All right, so if you want to pause the video now and go get your equipment. All right, we are going to start today in restorative fish pose, which is we're lying on our back, face up. A really nice open posture, good, especially if you're a little sore in your chest and your shoulders. So I'm going to show you with the stack of books. Mine is pretty high. So again, kind of play around with what feels good. The stack of books are going to go in between your shoulders. And then we're going to be using something soft for our head. So you can use a pillow here, a blanket, or a towel. And you can kind of see what feels good. I like to have my head a little bit lower, getting more of an arch. But you can decrease that by propping your head up a little bit higher. All right, let's go ahead and get settled into this pose. Let's start with our lower body. Let's just slowly bring our big toes in and out, kind of like windshield wipering our legs. And then just try to relax your legs. Let them just flop open. Try to relax in your hips. Just let your low back have that arch leading up to your torso and your chest. See if you can let your shoulders just slowly draw down to your mat. And for your arms in this position, if you're feeling pretty tight, you can keep your arms down at your sides, palms up. And if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can start to bring your arms out to the sides. And if you really want to go deeper, bring your arms up as if you're bringing them up overhead. And if you like how this feels, but your arms aren't touching the floor, slide your blankets or your towels under your arms so that you can still get the stretch, but you're not trying to hover your arms in the air. All right, settling in here. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, or just let them gaze to a spot on the ceiling. With your mouth closed, just slowly taking some long, deep breaths in and out through your nose. And with each inhale, feel your chest expand. It's rising up to the ceiling. Your rib cage is expanding out to the sides. It's pressing into either your block or your books. And with each exhale, let yourself sink down a little bit deeper onto your mat. That's supporting your legs and the books, your pillow or your blanket. Feel all the points of contact that are supporting your body right now, from your feet, up through your legs, your hips, your torso and your arms and hands, and your neck and your head. Again, allowing yourself to sink deeper with each exhale. And in this nice open position for my UHS students, working with this theme of letting go, I want you to try to think about one thing that you're going to work on letting go of. And by the end of practice, we'll revisit that. But what is something that's been weighing you down recently? Some possible ideas that we talked about. Maybe you're still clinging to wanting things to go back the way they were before COVID-19. Right? And that is going to add a lot of stress because we talked about how things aren't going to go back. And that might be a good thing because things weren't perfect before. And maybe looking at the idea that things can be better as we are making our way out of this. Maybe it's something physical. Maybe it's a messy bureau or a messy closet. And you want to let go of that clutter. And you're going to tackle that this weekend. You're going to clean up. And sometimes cleaning up our physical space helps make us feel better mentally, emotionally. And maybe, just maybe, you are going to start letting go of negativity towards yourself. Things that you say when you look in the mirror, or things that you think that you can't do or be successful at. It's time to let go of those thoughts. What is something, one thing that you're going to try to let go of? So lying here for another minute, I just have a short poem to read to you to go along with that theme. Hold on, hold on, hold on, they said. You're a dandelion in the breeze. Look what the winds of change have done to all these autumn leaves. Hold on, hold on, hold on. This big wide world is not for you. Hold on for long enough for the last gust to dance on through. So I held on, held on, held on. They said that's how you know you're strong. But not until I wilted did I notice something wrong. I thought holding on was bravery, but when winds of change do blow, sometimes it's even braver still to let go, let go, let go. All right, we're going to be moving out of our restorative fish pose very, very carefully because this is a really deep pose. So we want to make our way out slowly. The first thing I want you to do is to slide your arms down along your sides if they're not there. And we're going to be pressing into our elbows just enough. We're going to slowly bring ourselves up and move our equipment out of the way. So take that stack of books or your block, your blanket, or your towel. We're going to come back down onto our back. Go ahead and hug both knees into your chest. Go ahead and pull those knees in and just kind of move in a way that feels good right now. I like to roll my low back out. You can rock side to side. I'm going to let go of the alerts on my phone. Turn that off. All right, go ahead and bring your feet down to your mat. Take your feet to the sides of your mat. Let your knees fall in. Go ahead and bring your arms either out in a T or in cactus, 90 degrees. We're going to do a little bit of warm up here for our hips. Take a deep breath in and then exhale. Bring your knees over to the right. Keep your feet on the edges of your mat. And then inhale, bring them back to center. Exhale, bring them over to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right, and we're gonna hold this one. So try to keep pressing your left shoulder, especially on your mat. Keep drawing your knees down to the floor. If you wanna take a prop here, you could take a blanket or towel and support that bottom knee. Or if you wanna go deeper, take that bottom foot, place it on top of your top knee, and let it just gently press down. We're gonna hold this for about 10 breaths. If your neck is feeling okay, go ahead and look out towards your left elbow. And again, breathing deeply here. With each exhale, allow yourself to sink deeper into the stretch. If something doesn't feel good, use your props. You can prop up your knees, Think about where it would feel best. You can put props under your arms. Right? So restorative or yin yoga is about supporting so that you can let go. Notice where you might be holding any tension and see if you can just release that. About 3 more deep breaths. If you're looking to the left, bring your head back to neutral. And if you've hooked your foot on top, take that to the floor. Inhale, bring your knees back to center. Hold here for a round of breath. And take another deep breath in. And then bring your knees over to the left, nice and easy. And if you need to move your equipment, you can move that from one side to the other. Again, you can decrease this stretch by putting blankets or pillows under your knees, or you can take it deeper by hooking that bottom foot up top. Take another deep breath in, and maybe you're gonna look over to your right elbow. If it's been a particularly bumpy ride today and your mind is going a little crazy, it's hard to relax into this pose. I want you to put some words to your breath. On your inhale, think of the word let. And on your exhale, think of the word go. Be simple. Or you can inhale and think of the word peace. And exhale and think of the word stress. Imagining your muscles are getting softer and more relaxed. Looking back up towards the ceiling, taking your foot down towards your mat. Come back to center. Hug your knees into your chest. We're gonna make our way to table. And if you want to rock yourself back and forth and up, you can do that. Make your way into tabletop, or from here, maybe you just wanna roll over. All right, so moving slowly, go ahead and stack your joints. Get your wrists under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Let's start with just some slow torso circles. Doesn't matter what direction, but take some long, deep breaths in and just start to move your torso around and see how this feels on your shoulders and your hips. There's a lot of variation here. So just kind of do what feels good, noticing where you're tight, where you're sore, making sure you're going in both directions. And by noticing that here in these torso circles, you're gonna be able to focus on that more in some of these upcoming stretches. We're gonna do a lot for shoulders and for hips. So just paying attention where you need it. All right, let's do 3 rounds of cow and cat. All right, so inhale, maybe just a small arch here, looking straight ahead. Exhale, pointing your tailbone down, pressing in through your hands. Just relax your head here, let it hang. Do that again. Inhale, maybe looking a little higher. You're arching a little more. And exhale, pressing. Think of really pressing into your shins and your hands. And then doing one more. Nice big arch if you're feeling good. If it's not feeling good, keep it small. And exhale into cat. Come back to neutral. We're going to do thread the needle pose, and there's going to be a nice option to add some variety to this, because I know a lot of you have done thread the needle many times. Go ahead and start by rotating your left fingers in towards the center. Now go ahead and sweep your right arm up. It doesn't have to be very high, especially if you're feeling sore. And then exhale, dive that hand between your left hand and your left knee. We're going to come back up again. So press into that hand. Working a little bit of that range of motion. Open up. And exhale down. And last time, feeling that shoulder loosen up. And then this time, if you can, sink back towards child's pose as you extend this arm out, because we're going to try to relax into this, okay? Now, if it doesn't feel good on your knees to sink back into child's pose, grab your towel or your blanket. Put that behind your knees. That'll help take some of that pressure off the ankle. All right, so you're here. Sink your hips back, slide your right fingertips away. Now you have a couple options here. You can add another stretch by taking your left arm and just laying it across your low back and holding here. You can take that left arm and you can reach it up overhead. So reaching towards the top of your mat. And if you want to add something for your lower body, and again, this is all optional. You should be doing whatever feels good, what feels right. But if you're in this position, you can extend your left leg out and just relax it towards the floor. And then this is going to add a stretch into that left hip, all right, in your inner thigh. And you're still sinking your right hip back into your foot. We're going to take about 10 more breaths here. So again, notice, are you trying to hold anywhere? Can you release that tension? And if you feel like moving your hands, you feel like tapping, then flex, make fists. Squeeze your hands, and then we'll try to relax them. We have about 3 more breaths. I'm going to start by moving my left hand back and sliding my left foot back in towards child's pose. And then I'm going to press into that left hand, come all the way up, sweep that right arm open, and place that hand down. Go ahead and bring your left hand back to neutral. Rotate the fingers of your right hand so they're towards the center. And let's do that on this side. So inhale, opening up, and then exhale, sliding those fingers away. And do that again. Inhale, reach up. And exhale. And one more time. Inhale, reach. And now sink your hips back. Slide your left hand. And options for that right arm, you can lay it across your low back. You can extend that arm up towards the top of your mat. And if you want to extend that right leg out to the side, notice where you're feeling it the most. I notice if I extend my leg, it deepens the stretch in the left hip, in that one that's in child's pose. About 3 more deep breaths here. Maybe getting a little more of a stretch if your right arm is reaching towards the top or around your low back. And then we're going to slide that hand down, slide that right foot back in, and then inhale. We're going to press up and open and come back down. We're going to come all the way down to our bellies now, and we're going to start in crocodile pose. So lower yourself all the way down to your mat. Crocodile pose is very simple, feels really good. Bring your legs a little bit wider than hip width, but turn your toes out towards the sides of your mat. And then I want you to either get your blanket or a pillow or your towel. And we want to lay equally here. So I'm going to put this far enough away that my forehead can rest on it, and then my arms can be in cactus from here. So my spine is neutral, my neck is going to be neutral. I'm just resting my head My arms are in a T, in cactus, and my legs are relaxed. All right, so again, from this position, letting everything now ground down into your mat. Everything is sinking down. You're getting a small stretch in your hips maybe. Your neck is neutral and relaxed. With each deep breath in, you can feel your ribcage expand up towards the ceiling, out to the sides, down into your mat. And with each exhale, you feel your shoulders release down towards your mat. Feel your hips relax and soften. And hopefully this is a really nice, relaxing pose. I have another poem to read to you here, so if your mind is wandering, this gives you something to think about. So keeping that breath slow and steady. I remember when the world broke in to rip apart my soul. For years after that one event, I thought myself not whole. My hours were spent with trying to fix it up with tape and glue, until one day I discovered everyone else was broken too. Here we were with pieces of ourselves in both our hands, so fragile and so open that I began to understand. Maybe I'd been greedy to want my soul all to myself, when it could be a lot more helpful in the palms of someone else. Now every time I go somewhere, I leave part of me behind and collect all of the pieces of others' souls that I can find. So when I'm meeting someone new, it's not just me they get, but also tiny fragments of all the others that I've met. And my life's become much bigger now that it's home to things so small. And if this is what broken means, I do not mind at all. All right, we're gonna take another shoulder stretch from here. So this is, we're gonna stay in crocodile with your legs, if that feels good. If your legs need a break, go ahead and turn your toes in, that's fine. But we're gonna add a stretch here for your shoulders. All right, so kind of coming up, you're gonna bring your arms parallel to the top of your mat. And now we're gonna just start pulling our fingertips towards the sides. So you're gonna go as far as you can. Keep your shoulders square to the top of your mat. Fingertips are reaching in opposite directions. Maybe you've matched up your elbows. Maybe your elbows have actually passed each other. Go ahead and start to take some deep breaths here and see if you can relax your shoulders and feel a nice opening, especially in the back of the shoulder for the arm that's in front. If you really want to make this a little more restorative, you could take your block or your books. I usually don't with this, but it just occurred to me that you could, if you wanted to. You could rest your forehead here so that you can really relax into it. That actually feels good. So if you want to try that, grab your books or your block or your pillow and just rest your head. I feel like it's made it a little more intense in my shoulders. We're only going to hold this side for about 3 more deep breaths. Okay, so slowly coming up, sliding your hands back so that you're matching up one hand to your elbow, other hand to your other elbow, and now switch which arm is in front. Okay, so we get the other side and start to pull your fingers off towards the sides of your mat. And again, get yourself nice and long. So inhale, lift your chest up, make your spine as long as you can. And then as you exhale, slowly coming down. I like the idea of resting your forehead on some equipment. Noticing maybe which shoulder feels tighter. All sorts of reasons for that, but this is a great one to help equalize what's going on here in your shoulders. About 3 more breaths on this side. right, slowly, we're gonna come back up, sliding your arms together, moving your block out of the way. And we're gonna move to the wall now. So if you wanna watch how I'm going to position myself against the wall, I'm gonna move some of this equipment out of the way. Okay, so as you come over next to the wall, we're gonna try to sit with your one hip, you're to the side, and sit with your hip really close to the wall. I'm gonna let my dog out because he's wanting to eat dinner. I get it, Rocky. Go ahead, buddy. All right, we're gonna start by coming down onto our backs so that we can bring our legs up onto the wall. So my left hip is actually touching the wall, and as I come down, I'm able to bring my legs up on top of the wall this way. You can do this just like this, or if you have your block or a really thick, sturdy pillow, you can take that and lift your hips up and put that right under your low back. All right, this is a great pose for digestion, circulation, everything. It feels really good to put something under your back. And just bring your arms up over your head. That's kind of a nice stretch after doing that last shoulder stretch. And then go ahead and remove this block or whatever you put under your back. And go ahead and take your hands and take them to the outsides of your feet. I know a lot of times we do happy baby with our arms on the inside. This time we're going to take our hands to the outside and really straighten our arms here. Get the back of your head on the floor and just start to kind of rock back and forth. And then start to let your knees go a little bit wider. Starting to add a little bit of mobility here, like a deep squat. And then if you want to roll to one side, you're rolling on your back, but you're just kind of straightening maybe one leg out as you pull the other knee in. And you can use your fingers on your big toe and kind of open out to the side this way. Get a stretch in your inner thigh and your hip. And then go ahead and switch that. Hugging your knees into your chest, we're going to take pigeon using the wall. So we're going to start by straightening your left leg. Take your right foot and cross it over your left knee. Let that right knee go out as far as you can, so you look like the number 4. Now I'm going to start to slide that left heel down the wall, just naturally bringing my leg in. So I want to keep my right knee out to the side, and I want to keep sliding that left heel down. You can bring your arms out in a T or out in cactus here. And we're going to hold this side for about a minute before we switch. If you want to revisit that idea of something you're going to let go of, maybe this weekend, something you're ready that's been holding you back, weighing you down. You have about 5 more breaths here. Go ahead and slide that left foot up. Go ahead and uncross, straightening out your right leg, and then take that left foot over your knee and start to slide this heel down. Keep using that foot to push into the wall here. About 5 more deep breaths here. Go ahead and straighten out that right leg, uncross. You can hug your knees into your chest a little bit. We're gonna come off the wall back to our mat. So whatever way works best. I don't know if there's a really pretty way of doing that. Just rolling off the wall. And we're gonna come back to our mat face down. So go ahead and make your way. We're gonna do another big shoulder stretch for the front of your shoulders. We already did the back of the shoulders. So we're gonna switch gears and do a version of scorpion for your shoulders. All right, so coming all the way down, we're gonna bring our arms out in a T. Your legs are gonna start about hip width apart. We will be moving those a little bit. So bring your arms out in a T, and now slowly start to roll onto your left hip. So keep that left arm extended. I'm gonna press into my right hand to roll onto my left hip. And you might also wanna get a pillow, something for your head. So I'm gonna grab my blanket. Sorry about that. And put that at the top of your mat. Okay. All right. Take 2. Pressing into that right hand, coming onto your left hip. You're gonna start to feel this stretch in that left shoulder. You're gonna slide your equipment under for your neck. Now your plan A, if you wanna bend your knees here, that's gonna decrease the stretch. And you can keep your right hand in front of you and kind of hold up here. If you wanna decrease this, straighten that bottom leg, take that top leg behind you and kind of use it to support and to roll back a little deeper. Your right arm, it's really up to you. It can just kind of rest on your side. You can kind of fold it over behind you and just let it relax here. I know in the past we've clasped our hands. You can certainly do that. That's a real big stretch if you want to do that. But again, with restorative, we just want to be gentle and we just want to be able to fully relax. So from here, see if starting up at your head, let your head relax over your blanket. Take a couple deep breaths and see if you can bring your upper body to stillness. Relaxing that top arm and that bottom arm. And see if you can kind of balance yourself into position with your torso and your hips so that you're not holding, you're just relaxing in this pose. We have about 10 more breaths on this side before we switch. We're going to move out of this very slowly. So start by bringing your top hand back. Maybe start by bending your knees after that. Taking a breath and moving slowly. And then coming back down onto your belly. And we'll get ready to take this on the other side. Bring your arms out in a T. Use that left hand to help press yourself onto your right hip. I kind of like to start with both knees bent first to get set. And I'm pulling my right hand away from me. I'm using my fingertips to really straighten out that right arm. And then I can move back into straightening my bottom leg. I like to bring my foot behind. And just take this top arm and rest it behind me. And again, go through your checklist of relaxing your head and your neck. Letting your shoulders soften here, letting your torso and your hips hopefully come to stillness. And we'll hold for about 10 more breaths on this side. Okay, when you're ready, start by bringing that top hand back to the front, maybe bending your knees first, kind of stacking them up. And rolling back onto your stomach. You can move that blanket or what you were resting your head on out of the way. Slide your arms back into Sphinx pose. So bring your elbows under your shoulders, palms flat, spread your fingers. Go ahead and press, lift your chest, looking straight ahead. Take a deep breath here. On your next inhale, look over your right shoulder for your right foot. Stretch all along the left side of your torso. Slowly come back to neutral. Take a deep breath. And look over your left shoulder. Come back to center. We're going to press up and back into child's pose. And it's your choice here if you want to take regular child's pose, legs together, sweeping your arms behind you. You could use your equipment like a towel or a blanket to rest your head on here. Or if you want to take extended child's pose, bring your knees wide, feet together. And again, reach your arms forward here, but you can bring something for your forehead to keep your neck neutral. And as you're resting here, again, if your mind is still wandering, just focus on your breath. Child's pose is a great way. It's really easy to do that because you can feel your breath. As you inhale, it's pressing down onto your thighs. And then as you exhale, think of actively pressing your hips down into your ankles, towards your ankles. And just notice that nice release in your low back. We're going to just spend a couple more breaths here. Slowly pressing up. We have one more pose to do before we finish in relaxation. So we are going to repeat I heard a lot about kids really liking this pose last time. So we're going to take that prone twist. Prone means we're face down towards our mat. We're twisting with our legs to one side, maybe scissoring our legs. But since a lot of you don't have a bolster at home, I know I showed it with a bolster last time, and I feel like that wasn't fair. So if you have a big pillow, a thick pillow, and the higher you make this, the less intense it will be. So if you know that twisting bothers your low back and you want to keep it really small, then you could even put your books or a block under this to create an angle, okay? So go ahead and use your equipment to build this right now. The more of an angle, the higher up it is, it's going to be less of a twist on your hips and your low back. I kind of like mine to be lower. And this is about enough as I press down into it to create the same height as my bolster. Okay, so we are going to come down to our right hip first. So I'm at a 90-degree angle to my equipment, but now I'm going to turn and rotate my torso so that I'm square to my equipment this way. I'm going to take a deep breath in, get really long, lift your chest, walk your hands towards the top of your mat. I'm going to scoot a little closer and slide this down. So I'm lying face down this way. And then with your head, it's whatever, anything goes here. You can lay on your chin. You can lay facing the same direction as your knees. Or if your neck is okay, this would be a pretty big twist if you look the opposite direction. So just see what feels best. To go even deeper here, a lot of my UHS kids said they liked scissoring. So take your top leg and kick it behind you. Take your bottom leg and swing it forward. And again, I think I mentioned, this is one of the few stretches that I do that I can get to a muscle in my back that I pulled a while ago, because that muscle is so deep that it can be really hard to get to. So find a comfortable position here, and we have another at least 10 breaths here. Try to bring your body to stillness. Imagining that everything is heavy and supported. And the only thing you have to do right now is breathe. About 5 more breaths. All right, bring your head back to neutral. Slide your hands down so that they're under your elbows. Stack your knees and slowly press yourself up and back. Let's go into child's pose just for a couple breaths. Reset your low back here before we twist to the other side. And then make your way up. And again, this time your left hip comes up to your equipment, stacking your knees. Go ahead and make yourself really tall. Deep breath, face. Square your shoulders to the top of your mat and just kind of start to stretch yourself out the way you picture a dog or a cat as they kind of pull themselves forward. And as you make your way down, you can start to scissor your legs. Your top leg can go back. Your bottom leg can come forward. And I know I had some students that said scissoring didn't feel good, and that's okay. Then you don't do it. You know, all of these are just options. There's no right one restorative pose. Restorative is all about modifying it for you. So my job is to try to just show you all these different options. And there's options that you're gonna come up with that I didn't think of. So the whole point is, does it feel right? Does it feel good? Can you breathe? Then you're there, you got it. Couple more breaths on this side. Slide your hands down, stack your knees again. Slowly pressing yourself up and back. We're gonna get ready for our final pose. So we're gonna be in reclined bound angle. So some of you might need to have things for under your knees, which could either be 2 blocks, 2 towels, 2 blankets, 2 of something, 1 for each knee. Another option is if you have a bolster or a big pillow, you could use that as well. You can bring the soles of your feet together and relax your knees this way. If that's not right, you can take your blocks or stacks of books, and as you bring your feet together, rest your knees on your blocks this way or your books, and coming back. I would say add that chest stretch here. Bring your arms maybe way up overhead, but maybe putting something under your elbows, or maybe just out in cactus. So kind of play around with what you need here. I'll give you another few moments. And if you have a sandbag, I didn't talk about this in the beginning, but I just saw that it was here. And I know some of my students have one, and if you happen to have one, or if you want to pause and go grab it, sandbags typically are 10 pounds, but if you have anything that's a couple pounds, a little bit out of weight, it just can feel nice. Couple options here. In reclined bound angle, you can take that sandbag and just rest it across your waist, kind of resting across my iliac crest, right, your hip points. Some people, I know some students liked putting it on their chest. I also like putting it on my hands and bringing my hands up overhead to kind of add and hold them still in this stretch here. So again, we're in this position, this face-up position. We're kind of open to new ideas. What did you think about at the start of your practice? What's been weighing you down? What would you like to think about letting go of? What are you ready to let go of? And there's so many ways we can do this, and it can be really good for you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So if you want to revisit that, I have a final poem to read to help inspire you, to hopefully get you to let something go, maybe this weekend. All right. Taking a couple long, deep breaths in and out here, letting yourself sink down a little bit deeper each time. Any extra tension in your body, tense up those muscles, and then try to relax them. All right, notice how you feel. This was a great practice. Tons of shoulder work here. A lot of hip work that hopefully you might notice helps your low back. Maybe you notice your neck will feel a little bit better. So just checking in with where you are. I was the type of person that held onto things too tight, unable to release my grip when it no longer felt right. And although it gave me blisters and my fingers would all ache, I always thought that holding on was worth the pain it takes. I used to think in losing things, I'd lose part of me too, that slowly I'd become someone my heart no longer knew. Then one day something happened. I dropped what I had once held dear, but my soul became much lighter instead of filled with fear. And it taught my heart that some things aren't meant to last for long. They arrive to teach you lessons, and then they continue on. You don't have to cling to people who no longer make you smile, or do something you've come to hate if it isn't worth your while. That sometimes the thing you're fighting for isn't worth the cost, and not everything you ever lose is bound to be a loss. All right. We're going to make our way out of that final position. Start by taking a nice deep stretch up overhead from where you are. I popped up. You're here. Straighten out your legs. Hug your knees into your chest. You can cross at your ankles. Take your hands to your knees and roll your low back out. And then when you're ready, rock yourself up, back and forth a little bit. Take your way up to a seated position. And thank you for joining me. I hope you had a great practice. Namaste.